welcome to Interview Talk Show. I'm Susan McCord, your host, and my fantastic guest today is Rick Pedersen, who is a psychic medium in South Surrey, close to Vancouver, for those of you who don't know the area, in BC, Canada. And one thing I've always been really in awe of is people who have this amazing gift of being able to do a reading about things that are happening in your life, things that might be happening in your life. And I'm going to let Rick, tell you why and how this happens and how you have this gift to begin with.
I think everybody has this ability. It's just an issue of everybody can draw a picture. If I was to say to you to draw me a picture of a house, you might do a full 3D rendering, or it might be a box with a triangle on the top.
Ah.
So you have your base abilities that you're starting with, then the training that you learn to develop those abilities, and then that takes you to where you are in the present. So for me, it was an issue that I had a very strong ability from childhood, and then I developed over the years, and my calling really was just to do this for people. The healing that it brings to people for closure, understanding that when a loved one passes, that they're still in existence. They don't just disappear.
Okay, yeah, that's actually, you probably get a lot of people coming to you for that particular reason, because it's hard when you do lose a loved one. I mean, you want to make sure, the hardest part, I think, is wondering what happens to them. Are they okay? And I think just having that reassurance is a really good thing for a lot of people, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, you did started this about a year ago where you made it into your career, and was it because of the fact that you enjoyed the helping? Yeah,
it was a calling. It really was. I've been doing readings for people for years, and I never used to charge for them. And many people said to me, you know, you need to do this as a full-time thing. The amount of help that you bring to people, closure, guiding people in different things in their lives, and the thing is that we can't do it for free. You know, we can't always do it for free. We have to keep the roof over our head and food in our stomach.
Absolutely, and it's also for you as energy draining too, because you're kind of, is it kind of an out-of-body experience when you're actually dealing with this spirit guides and people that are coming to you in your ear, so to speak?
Yeah, I wouldn't say out of body. I mean, I'm very cognizant of my surroundings. I'm very clicked into what's happening.
Yeah.
But it's definitely where I find it draining more than anything is not doing the messages per se, but the emotions attached to it. Because in many instances, it's especially if I'm doing like a clearing at somebody's home where there's a spirit attachment happening.
Yeah, that's an interesting job.
It's very interesting, and
I don't think I'd be there with you.
You know what? You can't be afraid of it. If you're afraid of it, then you shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
But the thing is that what I tell people is that if you think about when you've had somebody who's had a sudden death, a violent death, or if there's issues that haven't been resolved, oftentimes they don't cross over, and so they get stuck. And oftentimes they get frustrated, and that's why they're doing different activity in your home, is they're trying to communicate with you. And so to try and get somebody to connect and communicate with me, if they're in that aggravated state, it's kind of like no different when you're angry at somebody, you just can't talk. If you think about when you get really, really upset and you have that big cry and you purge all the emotion out, and then about 2 minutes later you're sort of like, okay, I can talk now. It's the same thing. In many cases, I purge the emotion for the spirit. I bring it through physically. That is very draining on me, physically, mentally, emotionally. And the same thing can happen in readings when I bring through a loved one who's got a lot of sadness or anger or whatever. That's what drains me more than anything.
Now, if someone came to you and they wanted you to try and bring that specific person into the room, is that a hard thing for you to do? Does it just happen, or do you have to do something different to bring that particular spirit into the room?
It's a couple things. What I tell people is that just because you have an agenda doesn't mean that they're on the same agenda.
Yeah, like they might not want to come in.
Exactly. Right? And you know, my quest is really to bring more science into this. We have to move away from what I call the fluffy side of psychic work. It doesn't resonate for me. And so I like to bring it more to the terms of understanding energies and how things work. But I do tell people is that if there is indeed somebody, a loved one that you're wanting to speak with during the reading, is before we start the reading, I tell you to start calling to them in your mind. Send that intention out that now is their opportunity to draw near. And then in many cases they do draw it through that way. But again, it's not an exact science. If they're not waiting for a message for you, you might want to talk to them, but they may be busy doing other things.
So what would you do if somebody came into a reading and you just I mean, does it happen? Because I've had friends who are skeptics because they've gone to a reading and they say that they weren't told anything, or they didn't have, like there wasn't a lot of messages for them. So is there a time that the person could be shut off when they come to you? Could there be like a dark energy around them that's just not coming through to you?
There's definitely people who, especially if you're a skeptic,
yeah,
they're a lot tougher to work with. And I'll give you a case in point. If you think about in a formal interview, if I'm sitting across from you and I cross my legs and I cross my arms, it's closed body language. Nothing is happening.
It's true.
And so we do that energetically as well. If I'm a skeptic,
I got sit back.
Yeah, exactly. So, but if I'm a skeptic, I'm energetically doing that. I'm blocking it.
Yeah.
And what I tell people is that, you know, you have to have a certain amount of willingness to be open to what's going to happen for energy to flow, because that's what we're working with is energy. It's nothing else.
Well, what if you're just grieving to such a degree? Could that block things too?
You know what? I actually really find it very gratifying working with people that are grieving and in pain. There's a technique that with my spirit guide we developed, and I call it release therapy, and it's a very powerful session, and it only takes 5-10 minutes to do, and the results are huge for people. People have huge release, just purging all the emotion and negativity, and they come out of it and they just look at me and go like, wow. So when somebody's in that kind of a state, it's very positive for me because I know I can get results.
Yeah. Now the paranormal work that you do, you were doing this before you started doing the psychic readings, and you were doing that for what? How many years?
About 6 years now, 7 years.
And you did that without getting paid, didn't you?
Oh, it's all volunteer, no pay.
Yeah, which is pretty amazing. And you've helped a lot of people. Now, have you ever had any scary situations yourself when dealing with these paranormal entities, when you're going into someone's home? Have you ever had anything that's really freaky?
I've had interesting. I refuse to allow myself to get into a state of being afraid. If I'm afraid, I'm not in control. Having done police work, the way I would describe it is if you call 911, say there's somebody breaking into your house right now, and I knock on the door and I go, is the bad guy here? You know, and I'm all timid, that doesn't give any confidence to the client. It gives me no confidence in what I'm doing, and it definitely sends out that intention energy to what I got to deal with, that I'm in a weakened state. So I come in, I'm very confident in what I do.
So never been ever super scared?
No, never.
We had talked earlier, he actually gave me a reading. I might tell you all about that in a blog. So you jokingly call yourself a spirit sniffer. And what was the other one here? And a paranormal pest control guy.
Yeah.
So that kind of sums it up. With his humor, is that's kind of how he looks at it, is that he can see things, he can feel things. But can you actually, when you've got people around you, the spirits around you, like, can you physically feel that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's there's what are called clairs. Okay, so there's clairsentience, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairgustance. There's all these different clairs, and actually, it's kind of unique for one person to have all of them happening. I do. So for me, I hear the voices, I see spirit apparitions, I can smell smells that come through, tastes that come through. That's how I connected initially with my spirit guide, was via my sense of smell and sense of taste. It was a presence, and I couldn't get rid of it. Went on for several months, where literally every day I had this very strange taste in the back of my mouth that I couldn't get rid of. Went to an ear, nose, and throat specialist, checked me, and he said, nothing wrong with you. And I'm going, what's going on? Why am I having this? And it wasn't until a meditation that my guide revealed to me. He said, when you smell that, that's what I'm near. And so now I know anytime that it happens, it's like, yeah, okay, what do you need? You know, it's like I'm clicking in the way.
That's interesting, because a lot of people that I've talked to that might not believe in this, but they've said that somebody that they've lost, they can smell things.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like my aunt is very, very, very in touch, and her husband passed away, and he was a smoker, and the phone will ring, there'll be nobody there, but the smoke is there.
That's very common, and that's why when we do the classes that I teach, or even in meditation circles, is we say, do not wear perfumes, nothing sort of cloying soaps or any of that stuff, because you want, basically, when you're in that zone, you want to smell, if something comes in, boom, there it is.
Cool. Yeah. So what do you feel happens when we pass away? Is there a better place?
Yeah, it's, again, Einstein's theory of energy can be neither created nor destroyed. It merely changes from one form to another. So the energy that is our soul, our spirit, our chi, whatever we call it, it just simply goes to another vibration level. Nikola Tesla used to say, if we want to understand the mysteries of the universe, we have to start thinking in terms of frequency, harmonics, waves. It all has to do with that. It has nothing to do with all the mysticisms of religion and all the rest of that stuff. It has to do with what happens to the energy vibration. So as a medium, when I go in to communicate with the spirit, humans are very low frequency. I elevate my vibration. Spirit's high frequency. They bring their vibration down. We meet somewhere in the middle.
Okay, so a lot of people feel that they're going to be reunited with their loved ones, but then there's all this talk about reincarnation. So how are you going to be reunited with your loved ones in heaven if there's a reincarnation where you're going to be leaving and becoming somebody else?
It's an interesting thing.
Sorry.
No. You know what? It's a valid point. It's a very valid point. But one that I'll say to you is that I would encourage anybody before they take the next step, where I'm going to talk about is past life regressions, like doing a past life regression therapy.
Past life,
It's amazing. Go and be able to do a meditation for half a dozen times, so you know how to get into that relaxed state and be able to go. But you learn in these regression sessions past lives, and you start seeing how you're connecting with the people that are around you in your present life. We actually, in many instances, actually reconnect with people even in the physical. So sure, we can reunite on the other side with the vibration level on the other side, but at the same time, when we do come back into the next life, we oftentimes choose to come back and connect with people that we're connected with before.
Yeah, and also you can be connecting with people maybe that you shouldn't be connecting with because of a karma value.
Yeah.
Can that happen to you?
Yeah.
Like you come back because you've got to pay back, or there's something that you haven't dealt with in your past life to deal with in the next life?
Yeah, and that's very much what I say about our life experience. Is it's a learning ground. It's for us to be able to take our experiences and learn, and then when we come back, we've evolved. And I mean, Buddhist philosophies are very much the same way as well. I classify myself as a Christian. I was raised in a Christian household. But what I tell people is that I'm not a religious person. I don't believe in religion. I think religion is designed by man to control man through fear and intimidation.
My husband would agree with you on that.
Well, we can look at all the different religions and we can see like all the atrocities that are done in religion, and it's all really done to control man. It has nothing to do with quote spirituality. Spirituality is where it's at.
How has this impacted your family? Like you're married and do you have children?
No.
Okay, no children. I know your wife helps you out with some of the paranormal meetups and things that you do, right? But does it come into play at all? Like, does it cause problems with your personal life? Like,
no, actually, it's in many ways has strengthened our relationship because it's a common ground. We understand. She's very passionate about wanting to understand it more. She's actually in my advanced class for meditation, and she's always on this quest of wanting to know more and more. And the good thing is that she brings the side of being a bit of a bookworm. I'm not so much a bookworm. I'm a hands-on kind of person, and I do it through my immediate work. So she brings me stuff, and I'll sort of look at it, and so it's a really good fit.
Yeah. Okay. And one last question: what would you advise, or what advice would you give to people just to be on a better path? Like, obviously it's great to come and talk to you and get some focus and things like that, but is there something that you can tell people to do every day that can just better who they are and take away negativities from their life?
Two real quick steps. One is the power of intention is huge. Likes attract likes. So if somebody's in a grumpy mood all the time, they're going to attract a grumpy person around them. So try to create that positive energy around yourself and really put the intention out there, what you're wanting, and embrace it and make that your target. And the other real quick thing is that it comes to just trying to live a life and listening to your intuition. We have chakra points, which are energy points in our body. The solar plexus is our intuition side. So when you're going to make a decision about doing something, if you get the butterflies right here and it says no, then listen to it, because it bats 99.9.
Oh, it's so true. Intuition talks to you very loudly.
It does. And when we don't listen.
Yeah, and even on small things, like should I go left or should I go right?
Absolutely.
You listen to what it says first, right?
Yeah.
Okay, one last thing. Where can people find you?
Yeah, so you can, on my website is psychicreadingsbyrichard.com, or on spiritbc.net is the paranormal side. So if you got paranormal stuff, hit me there, or if you're wanting some psychic work and mediumship work, then the other website.
Okay, and people can contact you that don't live in Vancouver as well,
Absolutely,
right?
I do readings by Skype.
Phone?
And phone as well, yeah.
Okay, and all the information's on your website?
Yes.
Okay, and we'll be sure to put that under the video for you as well. Okay. Thanks so much, Rick, and thanks for my reading. I'm all pumped up and ready to go and take on the world. So you'll be seeing me out there for sure. Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Wounded soldier, dreaming's harder than it seems. It's not letting go of me. What's there to be afraid of? Time to give it all I'm made of. It's all